12 o'clock on your Wednesday afternoon now. Welcome in. It is the halftime show. Tyler Head, Terry Ford will be along with me in just a few moments here as we are, at this point, officially halfway through the week. As I said a little bit earlier, I feel like we've said all that we can say about the LSU game. We obviously know the officiating was not great, and in a lot of ways ended up costing South Carolina the opportunity to win that game. And, Beamer talked about it plenty yesterday when talking to the media that, hey, they submitted, the request to the SEC on some of those penalties, and they got the SEC's response back yesterday. Beamer agreed to disagree with some of them, but now you have to move forward. I mean, you can't go back and change it, and even if the SEC admitted, hey, we got these penalties wrong, they should have been called this way or that way, then, they don't retroactively go back and award you the victory. So you got to move forward. Still with sour taste in your mouth, obviously, with how things went down with LSU, but your goals are still in front of you. I think South Carolina earned a lot of respect this past weekend because you beat Kentucky the way that you did 2 weeks ago. And a lot of people came away from that game saying, well, Kentucky may just not be all that good, right? Retroactively, they went out and nearly beat Georgia, the number one team in the country, this past weekend, where people saying, oh, maybe Kentucky's actually better than we thought they were. So you have that as a feather in your cap. But then to go out there and play the way that you did on a national stage against what people expect to be a pretty good team in LSU, and also I think you had the compassion of a lot of people with, getting the wrong end of the officiating in that game, to where people say, yeah, if we've been called right down the middle, Carolina probably wins that game. So the consensus around your team 3 weeks in is a positive one, I think, nationally. I think everybody's aware that there's still work to do. Your offense has to continue to progress. Your redshirt freshman quarterback needs to continue to progress. Your offensive line does still have work to do to continue to progress, as well as elements of your defense. As we mentioned a little bit earlier in the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, that you've only really faced one prolific passing offense up to this point. There's still work to be done in the secondary, aside from getting the takeaways, which has been great. The interceptions are wonderful, but still work to do as far as coverage and things like that LSU started to do as that game went along there. We now turn our attention to Akron this upcoming weekend, and I'm in commercial breaks. I've been, going through and trying to take some notes and detail some things about Akron for, for the purposes of our shows as the week goes along. And I even asked Wes and Chris, before they left here, I'm like, you guys found any interesting angle on this Akron team opposed to the two quarterback thing that Beamer mentioned yesterday? They got nothing. I've not uncovered anything specific yet, and I'm not trying to disrespect the opponent, but there's a reason that South Carolina is a multi-touchdown favorite in this game. This Akron team is not very good. Statistically speaking, they're not very good. The one thing that sticks out to me, they have a lot of talent that's transferred from Power 5 schools. Both their quarterbacks that you're going to see this weekend, Ben Finley and Taj Bullock, they've been at NC State, Cal, and Virginia Tech, respectively. Like these are guys that have been at high-level programs, but there is a reason why they're at an Akron now, because for whatever reason, they could not find their footing at those Power 5 institutions.
Well, one couldn't get on the field at Virginia Tech, right? So I had to transfer with four career attempts or whatever it was at Virginia Tech. And the other one was third school. And has never completed over 60% of his passes in a season. So it's so interesting, the transfer portal era. Hi, how you doing? It's always so interesting, the transfer portal era, when guys come in. Look, some guys just couldn't get their opportunity, right?
Yeah,
They couldn't get their turn. And then they show up and they ball out, and it's like these guys just couldn't get their turn. Some guys, there's a reason they're moving on to multiple schools. And so far with both the quarterbacks at Akron, if you're just looking at stats, you're like, oh, this is why you weren't getting your opportunity at the Power 5 schools you were at. Now, the rest of the roster, look, Joe Moorhead, really good offensive coordinator at Penn State, parlayed that into taking the gig at Mississippi State where it just didn't go well.
I think he was in over his head.
In over his head, and sometimes it's a thing and sometimes it's not. So you can't always say it automatically. Because, where was Nick Saban at before he went to LSU? Michigan State.
Yep.
Is Michigan State in the SEC?
No.
So you can't always put this blanket statement. And because it's something we put on Caleb DeBoer saying, okay, we're going to see how he goes from recruiting to recruiting. How does he handle being in the SEC when he was out in the Pacific Northwest or he was out on the West Coast, right? And we'll see with Caleb DeBoer. We don't know. But with Moorhead, it really felt like, talk about, what's that dumb saying, fish out of water, dude?
Yeah.
Joe Moorhead being in the SEC, it just was not a good fit. Not for Joe. But then you look at his career now, and he's at Akron.
Yes.
It feels like things are going backwards. Not to be mean.
A little bit. I definitely think the resume of, hey, former SEC coach going to a place like Akron, that probably instilled a lot of hope in that fan base. Like, hey, man, we got a guy that coached in the SEC that's going to come in here and right the ship. But it's an uphill battle for sure. Because
in the whole, you never truly know until you know. Sometimes that guy comes down from a higher level. Like Frank Solich went to the MAC. And Frank Solich, when Frank Solich was run out of Nebraska, because, he wasn't Tom Osborne or Bob Devaney.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you what, they were so good since Solich left, too. Couldn't wait to run old boring Frank out of town.
Yep.
But Solich went to the MAC and had a nice little career as a head coach in the MAC. So sometimes taking a guy from a bigger school and putting him at a mid-major, for whatever the reasons, works out. I think Solich was also AD for a little bit. But anyway, Moorhead, we'll see. But like you said, hey, we got this coach. He was a head coach in the SEC. Okay. And he shows up and you're like, all right, great. Okay. We're waiting.
Well, and you can almost, I guess, kind of give a mulligan for the first year. Say, all right, first year, come in, you still got to build your foundation, right? 2-10 the first year, okay, that's fine, whatever. They did the exact same thing last year. 2-10, 1-7 in MAC play. They did technically finish one spot higher in the MAC East, the 5th as opposed to 6th the year before, but still, and from what I've gathered about this team, and I started to watch a little bit of the Colgate game, I'm not impressed. Is that fair to say?
No, I mean, it's fair. And I guess Joe Moorhead might be a guy who is just a really good offensive coordinator who had success at Fordham way back in the day. But as he's moved up in levels, he's really a guy who is more of a coordinator than a head coach. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's where this could be going. I mean, let me get this up here really quick on Joe Moorhead. I had a tab. All right, Moorhead and Mississippi State was 500, a little bit above 500 overall, a little bit below 500 in the SEC. Mm-hmm. Nothing special. Did go to 2 low-level bowl games and got moved. At Akron, he's won 5 games in 2+ years. Not very good.
And I'll say this because this was before the transfer portal really took off to what it is today. I think he benefited from having what was left of Mullen's guys.
Oh, I agree.
Because Mullen, left Florida when Mississippi State was in a good place.
Yes, and that's why. Look, Joe Moorhead at 14-12 and 7-9. Right now would not get him fired at Mississippi State. But coming off of when Dan Mullen was very successful in Starkville, a 500 record was not going to cut it.
And he kind of butted heads with a lot of people there, particularly the fan base, who was not too keen on him and
fish out of water guy.
Kind of dug his heels into the ground there.
Well, instead of I think unless you're Nick Saban, we'll push Nick Saban to the side because he's the best ever. Look, it's like anything. You go to another region, from a region and you don't know that region. Instead of going in there going, I'm going to change your region. Mm-hmm. I'm going to change your culture. Watch me. You have to understand the culture and ingrain yourself in the culture.
Right.
Like Shane Beamer's done here. I mean, Shane's done a fine job ingraining himself in the culture. So it's just the idea that's what you do. You don't go in and go, your culture is crap. I'll give you the new culture.
Yeah, especially for a program that, was only a couple years removed from being the first ever number 1 team in the playoff poll and, having Dak Prescott and all those guys around him. So they were in a pretty good place when Mullen Upton left.
Yeah, I mean, Mullen did a really nice job there. And then Moorhead came in and, again, just didn't fit. And I don't know, and I still don't know, can this guy recruit? Is he an offensive coordinator with a good offensive mind? But can he recruit? Because he didn't really, Mississippi State 2 years and out. So even when he did recruit, he didn't get a chance to develop what he recruited because he wasn't there long enough. Now, this is year 3 at Akron. This is the year where you should be making some step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. You've been given 2 years, right, to build it, to go out and recruit your guys and to start developing guys and now use the portal to your advantage. Year 3 should be much better. And so far, you were down 17-0 to Colgate and came back and won. You hung out with Ohio State for a little bit till they started trying. And, you also got curb stomped by the Schianos. Doesn't look good so far in year 3.
Not great.
But what you do, really for South Carolina, like you said, this week the angle is tough. Especially coming off of last week where there was 1 million angles. Mm-hmm. This week is kind of angleless. We're so desperate. We're talking about a team that's going to play 2 quarterbacks. And Jen this morning on the early game was looking up the history of the nickname Zips.
Oh. Is there a history to this?
There was. I think she said they were
kangaroos, right?
Yeah, there was something about, I think there was they were almost going to be called the Hillbillies.
Oh, that's great.
Or something. So, yeah, that's where we're at this week.
You would think Akron is something to do with rubber, right? Because they should play in the Rubber Bowl.
Well, plus Akron.
The tires and all that kind of stuff.
And all that stuff is there. Yeah. I've been to Akron. Yes. I've been to Akron, the city of Akron.
You sound so excited about it.
I've been to the city of Akron.
That's all you can say.
Nice little Rust Belt town.
LeBron's from there.
I'll tell you this about Akron really quick. Because everybody wants to lump Akron in with Cleveland because LeBron and played in Cleveland and everything.
Yeah.
Akron hates Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
This is not make us part of Cleveland. No, Akron hates Cleveland. I know people from Akron, they hate Cleveland. But anyway, so this week is a tough week to dig stuff up and to find the angles. I think the main angle is stay healthy. Who are you going to rest? Who might need a little rest because of some nagging injury or injuries, including your quarterback. What are you going to do in that situation with Lenore Sellers? You want to get out of this game healthy, and in a perfect world, you run Akron over, you get a big lead, and then you get to play your whole roster, and you move forward to that meat of your schedule, the gauntlet you have coming up. That's a perfect world. You get to work on some stuff, and you feel good about what you worked on, and you get out of it healthy, and you have a nice, large win. The opposite of Old Dominion, Tyler, is what you want Saturday.
Which is why, we have to tread lightly when saying, oh, this team sucks, and their stats and all that, say they're one of the worst in FBS, because we didn't say the same thing about Old Dominion, but we said, all right, this is a team that you should beat pretty comfortably in week 1, and we're sitting up there in the press box in the fourth quarter looking at each other like, we better watch this team lose to Old Dominion. So anything's possible, certainly. But by the way, Ernest on the Love Chevrolet phone lines did just say, according to Jen's research this morning, they're named the Zips based on a zip tire that B.F. Goodrich had back in the day.
Student, ready? Here it is. Thank you for the call, by the way.
Yes, appreciate the call.
Appreciate you. Student Margaret Hamlin suggested zippers, which was also the nickname of a popular rubber overshoe sold by Akron's B.F. Goodrich. In 1950, then athletic director Kenneth I'll find. Here it is. Then athletic director Kenneth Red Cochran shortened the name to Zips.
I think they've incorporated a kangaroo
Zippy
as a mascot
the kangaroo
now.
was officially declared as the mascot in 1953.
Could you have a guy walking around with a big tire? That'd be kind of cool.
I think that would be cool. Big head, big tire head. All right, halftime show. We will come back. Joe Moorhead did talk. Why don't we hear what Joe Moorhead, the Akron head coach, had to say about this game? He has a little take that's pretty funny we want to get to. Terry Ford, Tyler Head is a halftime show on the game. Halftime show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head here on The Game. Thank you for hanging out. You could be chilling with us on our Game app. You just go to, whether you have iTunes or Google Play, you go to your app store and you just download 107.5 The Game, and you can listen to us anywhere. Also, if you're digging it on our YouTube channel, Game TV, at Game TV Radio, and you can watch us. Hey, how you doing? How you been? How's it going? Hey, that's us. And you can look at the shine off my head, which is exciting. There were some people in the YouTube chat questioning your hat.
My hat?
Earlier this morning.
Yes, I got this from Gold Line Framing last week.
Very nice.
So they literally got in an order that day, and Chris's wife actually purchased this for me. I didn't know she'd purchased it. I thought she was putting it off to the side so I could buy it later, and she actually bought it for me. So thank you to her.
Thank you, Chris's wife.
Very nice. But
Very nice.
Yeah, great hat's got the palmetto tree on it. I know when we were there, I got the last one that day, but they said they were ordering some more. So go see our friends at Gold Line Frame in West Columbia. They should have some more here in soon.
Just want to get this out there now. If Chris's wife can buy me one, I got no problem with that. After all these years in radio, I have no pride.
That's true. Well, listen, I'm a sucker for a free hat in any context.
So, yes, it was brought up on the stream about your hat earlier.
So that's where you can get it. Gold Line Framing West Columbia.
Gold Line Framing. All right, so Joe Moorhead talking to the media. I think this is the cut. Cut 21. Again, Akron is going to show up in Columbia, South Carolina at Williams-Brice, and they'll collect a check because that's why they played Ohio State. That's why they played Rutgers, to collect a check to put money in the bank account of the athletic department. And here's Joe Moorhead talking about playing South Carolina.
It's kind of the same thing. You're going on the road to play another top 25 caliber team that is incredibly talented and well coached. Almost knocked off LSU. We're going to control what we can control, which is how well we prepare, our level of effort and execution. The department gets to pay some bills. The equestrian team gets new saddles, and everybody wins. So we're going to be fired up to go down there in a certainly a very challenging environment.
The equestrian team will get some saddles.
We've said many times, we just want coaches to be honest sometimes and not give us the coach speak answer. I appreciate that kind of answer because,
I loved it.
That's not him saying, oh, we're going to go in there and get beat by 4 touchdowns. He's like, no, we know what this game is. It's a game we're not favored in. It's a game where the town on the other side is a lot better than us. We're there for the purposes of getting a big check to Akron so all these other teams can get new uniforms and, you can get a new floor on the volleyball court or whatever it may be. We're going to go there and try, obviously, because every game you go out there and try to win, but we know what this type of game is supposed to be.
I like it, too. You know what? It's also kind of funny, wasn't it? We're getting saddles for the equestrian team. We're going to go there and we're going to get a check. Most people who understand college football, they know what's up here. We're going to show up to get a check, and their goal is to beat our brains in.
Pretty much.
Our goal is to find a way to hopefully shock the world, win the game, and then go like this. Oh, by the way, where's our check?
It's so funny, too, because this doesn't really exist in any other sport. Yes, in basketball and baseball and stuff like that, you have these games against these lower-end, mid-major teams, whatever you want to call them, but the talent discrepancy is not as great. You can see what UNC Wilmington beat, was it Kentucky last year? Or one of the Blue Bloods. I can't remember exactly, but you can see those kind of upsets happen at a little more of a regular clip because those games are a little bit more evenly balanced. Right. Football's a different story. Football, if you have a more talented team, 99% of the time, you're going to win the game just because that's how this game ends up going. So there's really no other sport where you just have these sacrificial lamb type of games where it's they're supposed to win by 60 points.
Yes. And, and we go back to Old Dominion again, because that's our point of reference from the first week of the year in a game where South Carolina had to escape when they were huge favorites. For example, right now as I peruse, because usually when you play these games, you just move on, right?
Yeah.
Old Dominion, you know how many games they've won this year?
None. 1.
You are correct, sir. They're 0-3. Lost to South Carolina, lost to East Carolina, and then lost by 20 to Virginia Tech. So they haven't won a game. Now, they they haven't been crushed. I mean, they lost by 20 to Virginia Tech. They lost by 14-6, rather, to East Carolina. Their closest loss is to a South Carolina team that dismantled Kentucky and really should have beat LSU.
Yes.
So think about the rhyme and reason of all that real fast.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. And going back to Joe Moorhead, it's refreshing. It is refreshing to hear someone just kind of speak the truth. But here's the problem. When people speak the truth, then there are times where it's like, you really shouldn't have spoke the truth right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like example, Brian Callahan, the head coach of the Titans. I get Will Levis is a disaster, and you inherited Will Levis. But really, dude? Really? Come on. I mean, again, the implosion on the sideline of what the bleep are you doing, and then going in your press conference, he's a grown man. It's not, and look, it might work. I don't know, especially if everyone realizes Will Levis is not a franchise quarterback in the NFL, which he's not.
Right.
But if I'm a player on that team, here's my natural thought. You going to do that to me? And the answer is yes, obviously. And even like Callahan didn't really apologize for it. He was like, "Hey, man, I'm human.
Yeah.
He says, I have blackout moments where what?
And that's kind of a scapegoat answer, right?
Yeah. I mean, no, you're the head coach. While the fans that are drunk from the tailgate scream, "What the F are you doing?" and go crazy, you're supposed to be composed. Levis comes to the sideline. On the inside, you're screaming and yelling and going, "What are you, a buffoon?"
Yeah.
But on the outside, you put your arm around me, you say, "Will, we can't do that. We can't. We have to be. We have to be. We have to think different. We have to be smarter. Whatever."
Yeah.
But that reaction's wrong. And then to double up and be honest in front of a camera and microphones and say, I'm human.
Well, I go back to what Brian Flores, when the stuff came out about his treatment of Tua, when he's asked about it, he didn't say, "No, I didn't do that." He's like, "Well, I need to be better," and blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, so you admit you did it.
Right, you did it. And the world, and I was talking to somebody upstairs about this earlier, the world of managing like an a-hole is over. Whether you're a coach, you manage people at a job, you own a business, the days of being that guy and treating everybody the same badly,
Yeah.
and coaching by fear or managing by fear, or hey, a happy workplace is complacent and all this other mumbo jumbo. Everybody's different. Now maybe Will Levis, you need to coach Will Levis like that. I don't know. Okay, but I mean the guy. I mean we've seen what he eats and how he does his life. But in theory, the head coach, when everything else is going to hell, who's supposed to be calm in the storm?
The leader.
And if my leader's losing his mind, that's not a good thing, right?
No.
Now we circle back to Joe Moorhead. My man is just stating the obvious of, look, we're going to go there and try to win a football game, and we're going to do our best to win a football game, but let's all be real here for a minute. We're getting saddles for the equestrian team. That's what we're doing. Joe Moorhead didn't say we're going to show up and get our teeth kicked in.
By the way, I got to imagine it's got to be a little bit humbling when you've been on one side of that equation, Mississippi State paying whatever, teams that they paid to come in there and for them to be on the other side, like, oh, now we're handing you the check. Right.
Now you're the punching bag.
Yeah.
So, but I love that. I love that answer from Joe Moorhead. All right. Lawyer Lisa special teams contest, $400 this week. If South Carolina scores a special teams touchdown, we'll have a drawing 7:30 on the early game Monday morning, and it could be you pocketing the cash. But you have to go to 1075thegame.com. Look for the little Lawyer Lisa image on the little spinny, rotating thingy. Click on it, fill out your form, pop submit, and then you're qualified. You got to do it every week. This week, could put $400 in your pocket. Go to 1075thegame.com to register, and we appreciate very much Lawyer Lisa for jumping in on our contest again this year. Halftime show, Terry Ford, Tyler Head on the game. We didn't get a lot of player stuff from yesterday. I would get some Kyle Kennard talking about the penalty and the mistakes overall the defense did make, especially in the second half against LSU. Kind of hear his perspective next on the halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head on the game. Oh, what we're talking about. Carolina, Akron on Saturday. We're talking about, okay, what are the angles? We need angles. We're looking for angles. I guess, Tyler, one of the angles, Terry Ford Tyler Head, thanks for hanging out with us. Oh, before we get to that, I have a special guest coming here at 1 o'clock.
That's right.
If everything works out well. So we'll have a little special guest here. We'll switch a little gears from what we've been talking about. And we will talk to, hopefully, if it works out well, former Gamecock who is in the Hall of Fame in his chosen sport. So if everything works out, again, schedules are schedules and things can change on a dime. But at 1 o'clock, our goal is to take a little pivot away from the football world for a little bit and move into another sport.
Looking forward to it.
So that's coming up. We're hoping everything works itself out at 1 o'clock. All right. I guess one of the things I think really, the more I think about it, the big thing for the week is going to be the Lenore Sellers situation. Because let's be real for a minute. Yes, the officials were awful on Saturday. Yes, points got taken off the board. We can argue all day about all that. The officiating was bad. But at the end of the day, despite those issues, I really believe if Sellers doesn't get hurt, you win the game. Nothing against Robbie Ashford. Any team is better with their starting quarterback than their backup, right?
Oh, well, there's a reason he's a starter.
Exactly. So I just think if Sellers doesn't get hurt, you win that football game. So the health of Lenore Sellers is paramount for this football team. And to me, what is going to happen on Saturday? Look, if Sellers is 100%, that's fine. It's not a conversation. And we won't know this truly because, again, the way the world, you don't have to put an injury report out this week.
That's right.
So we won't really know until we know on Saturday when they take the field, does Lenore Sellers play or not? And if he's not 100%, if he's 74.25, the conversation is, do you put him out there at 3/4 of himself? I would think no.
Probably not.
I would think then you play Robbie Ashford or Davis Bevel or wherever you're going to go with that. And because Sellers' health is going to be look, no offense to Akron. Great tires. But you think you can win you should win this football game.
You should. And you should be able to win it even if Robbie Ashford is your starting quarterback and you don't have as much of a dynamic pass game as you would have Lenore Sellers. You can win this game being one-dimensional, theoretically speaking.
Right. So if Lenore Sellers isn't 100%-ish or in the neighborhood, do you sit him and just get it? Because, again, if you do sit him, then he's got also the bye week to rest, and he's 100% is the goal for the gauntlet that starts.
Correct.
So I believe that would be the way I would think you would go with it, but we'll find out. And to me, that's the story of this week.
It is.
Is Lenore Sellers and his health, not just his health for this week, but moving forward.
Yeah.
Here's the other part of it to throw in, and we talked about this yesterday. Lenore Sellers needs reps.
Oh, 100%.
If this was Spencer Rattler, let's just pretend this is Spencer Rattler.
Okay.
You're looking at it different too, because you're like, we definitely, you rest Rattler. He's a veteran. He doesn't need reps.
Yeah, he's got it. It's fine.
So you need health more than you need reps. Lenore Sellers needs health, but he also needs reps almost on the same level. It's a different animal.
He does, and we've seen steps forward in each game that they've played this season. It's still not perfect. I mean, he's still, his throw accuracy's still a little off at times. The rapport that he's gotten with the receivers has gotten better. There's still some disconnect there at times, but it's making a step in the right direction. Obviously, you had the bye week coming up anyway, but how does having one less game worth of reps affect you going into playing Ole Miss coming out of the bye week where you have to be at your absolute best to beat a team like that? And how much does, 60 offensive snaps? Well, I guess in a blowout, you would play maybe half that. So how much does 30 or 40 less snaps affect Lenore Sellers going into the Ole Miss game as opposed to having those reps against a team where you should be able to move the ball a little bit easier up and down the field?
That's the thing, right? And to the point of Robbie Ashford, yes, you should theoretically be able to play Robbie Ashford and beat Akron. And that's why, to me, if Lenore Sellers, if it's still got a little something going there, right? let's say you still got a little bit of it just doesn't feel right in whatever right is, then you say, well, put the glasses on and stand next to us this week, man, and we'll get you healthy for Ole Miss.
Or is there a balance of saying, okay, well, he's at 90%. Again, we don't need him to go out there and be Superman to beat Akron. Maybe you focus a little bit more on passing. Maybe you say, all right, we're going to give you a couple drives. You're mainly going to throw it. When we need to run the ball, it's going to be rocket, or we're going to use Jared Brown in motion or something along those lines. And we're just going to get you some reps, but we're not going to use your entire skill set in this game because we don't want you to risk getting hurt worse.
Yeah, so it's going to be, to me, that's as we're trying to search for something this week, I think that's a legit something is Lennar Sellers and his health and his availability for Saturday against Akron. Because, again, it's Akron. No disrespect, Akron. Home of LeBron James.
We're going to get a very angry call from a Zips fan here before too long.
I wonder if there's any actual Akron graduates in our
Do you think
area.
LeBron was a fan of Akron, like as a kid?
Oh,
given the
the
fact
Zips.
that
Love
they
the
were
Zips.
in town? I guess he would have gone to the Rubber Bowl back in the day.
Oh, yeah, the Akron Rubber Bowl.
Which isn't it still sitting there decaying?
I think
they never tore it down.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's still there. I remember the old Akron Rubber Bowl. It's got a great name, too.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I love that. It's a rubber ball. Because you're picturing like a tire.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just built out of a tire.
Exactly.
Right? It is. It's, yeah. But, ever tell you I went to Akron? I've been to Akron in my life.
And that's about all you got to say about it.
It is. Anyway. So, I think that's really the deal. And the other thing, too, is, I guess, storyline 2 is you want to get to the point where you start cleaning up some stuff, right? There are some things that need to get cleaned up. And I get RPOs, but you got to find a way to reduce the amount of illegal man downfield penalties you have.
Big time.
You got to be able to be better at securing the football. You've been lucky in recovering a good amount of your fumbles, but you can't depend on the luck of the bounce. You got to start securing the football better and valuing the football better. That has to happen. So those two things, just like, when you look back on Saturday, yes, there were some penalties that were bogus or seemed bogus, but there are also some legit penalties you got to stop doing.
And the ones that you can't argue against, the false starts, when Kennard was offsides on that fourth down, like those are things you just can't shoot yourself in the foot doing.
Right. We can go on all day about horse collars and unnecessary roughness and things of that nature, but jumping off sides and, having pre-snap penalties on offense, those are things you have to clean up at some point. Speaking of Kyle Kennard, real quick, let's grab this cut. Let's go with cut 28, Tyler, about moving past the loss, a very difficult, very tough loss in a game that you feel like you should have won. Cut 28, Kyle Kennard.
This will be Demetrius Knight.
Oh, is that Knight? I thought that was
Knight.
Kennard.
That's Knight.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go to Kennard first. Moving past the mistakes. My bad. 25. I read it wrong. Look at me.
I mean, that's what today and Wednesday and Thursday is about, just fixing mental errors and even the technical errors that we made on the field. So throughout this week in practice is when we're looking to do that.
He's sick of talking about it.
Yeah, I agree. Because you know what? It's over, right? And it's been going on. It was Saturday.
Yes.
And now you're sitting on Tuesday and, okay. And plus, Shane Beamer's coaching that. We're done with it. We got to move on. We can't stay in it now. We're talking to Ryan Brewer yesterday off the air, and he was just like, "Hey, you got to flush this. You got to flush it and go now.
Yep.
It's done. You can't fix it. You can't go back. They're not going to redo the game for you. You got to move on." Well, let's go. Let's get that Demetrius Knight cut real quick. Let's get Demetrius. Now we got to hold it. Too close. Let's get out. And we'll get Demetrius Knight. Also, Firehouse Subtext the hour coming up at 803-404-6100. Hopefully, we'll have a special guest in the building at 1 o'clock. That's our hope. We'll see how that works out again. Logistics. And we have Carolina Calls on Thursday. We do know that for sure. 6 o'clock, Shane from Backstreets. You can hear it right here on the Game in Columbia at 107.5 and our sister station, our affiliate in Myrtle Beach, 100.3 The Game. Shane Beamer, Carolina Calls. Look back a little bit more on what happened with LSU last Saturday. Look forward to Akron this Saturday. Again, Carolina Calls with Shane and Todd Ellis. That'll be 6 o'clock in Columbia and Myrtle Beach on The Game. Time to get our Firehouse Sub text of the hour at 803-404-6100. What you got there, Tyler?
Nameless texter weighs in and says, you're telling me that the only quarterback on this whole team that can actually throw the ball is Sellers. If that is the case, we've done a really horrible job at recruiting.
I mean, Davis Beville, we don't know a lot about throwing the football because he played, he got a taste at Oklahoma?
Yeah, it was at Pitt as well. He is more of a traditional pocket passer. And again, we've not seen him on display here at South Carolina so far, but he's probably more adept to throw the football. And I even asked the question watching the game Saturday when it was very clear that Carolina needed to throw the ball late in the game. I was like, do you think about maybe bringing in Beville for a drive just to see? I mean, it can't be like any worse as far as the throwing. And obviously when he's out there, you're not going to have that same element of running, which again is what a lot of the offense is built around with Sellers, play style as well as Robbie Ashford. So you take that away, but again, I mean, Davis Beville may give you a better option as far as backups when it comes to throwing.
Yeah, I mean, because we saw Beville in the spring game, but he was running for his life.
Yeah.
God love him. And from what I remember, Beville in the spring game, he was trying not to get killed. So we didn't really get a chance to see him spin it even in that. Whatever you want to put stock in a spring game, you couldn't even see him really spin it in that.
Yeah.
So to the texter, yeah, if you really have one guy who legitimately can throw the rock around, yeah, that's an issue. Now, again, Dante Reno. We forget about Dante Reno. I mean, you don't want to see him take the field this year, obviously.
No.
But he's probably more of a thrower. And look, we're not sitting here beating up Robbie Ashford like, oh, my God, he can't throw the ball anywhere. But his skill set is more of a runner than it is a thrower. And there are consistency issues with Robbie Ashford throwing the football. There just is. I mean, at Oregon, at Auburn, that's just his skill set is more of a guy that takes off and makes plays with his legs.
Right.
Which fits in with some of the stuff South Carolina does right now on offense because Lenore Sellers can do that. But throwing it is just not his strength at this point consistently. Probably, my guess is Beville and Reno would be able to throw it better than Ashford, is my guess.
Probably.
But we don't know that for sure because we're not there every day. But also remember, and this is not an excuse or taking up for anybody, but when you bring in quarterbacks in the transfer portal today, if you have a guy that is your guy and you're bringing in a quarterback, yes, to quote-unquote give competition, but this is not you think you already have your starter, and that's where South Carolina was with Lenore Sellers. Quarterbacks, when they leave a program to go to another one, most of them want to come to your program to start. And they want to guarantee they're going to start. I remember Shane was talking about this, in the offseason, saying, we had quarterbacks want to come to South Carolina, but they wanted us to guarantee them a starting spot. And that's something that just Shane wasn't going to do because South Carolina, they looked at Lenore Sellers as their starter. So you're going to bring in a guy who is going to be accepting a possible backup role.
Yes.
So remember that as we move forward here. It wasn't like, you were going to get Cam Ward to come in and transfer. So, yeah, man, I'll just be the number 2, and if you need me, I'll be ready to rock and roll. That's not the way this works. So you bring in a guy who can accept the competition, who also understands there's a really good shot he'll be the number 2.
Yeah, and Robbie Ashford made it very clear as well. Like, he didn't get the development he thought he needed when he was at Auburn, which didn't help him develop his passer. Thinks he could come in here, and that could happen. Now, up to this point, I don't know how much progression he has made. Again, we've only seen him throw a couple passes up to this point, so that's not to say he hasn't made progress, but we haven't seen enough of it to necessarily know for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that all that stuff is such a work in progress at times. You just can't have a guy come in and in 1 or 2 days, all of a sudden he's a more polished thrower. It's just not the way it works. Now, again, Robbie Ashford could be better than he was at Auburn and Oregon right now, but does that mean he's still a better thrower than Lenore Sellers? At this point, no. But you watch Saturday, and it's not just as plain and simple as this, but it felt like South Carolina really did not want to throw the football unless they were put in a situation where they had to throw it in the second half.
Right.
Now, there were times passing plays were called and Ashford took off because that's his inclination, right?
Yep.
he's going to take off. He's going to have one read and go, which is a different offense. So to the texter's point, again, we're not there every day to see it, but it felt like that the game plan would be much more comfortable regarding throwing the football if it's Sellers at this point. But we appreciate the text. Thank you very much. Like always, 803-404-6100. So I was going through Pro Football Focus. You know, they do their grades on pass rush, right?
Yep.
And I was just skimming through the entire country to see where South Carolina would land in pass rush grade. I'll tell you, coming up. Also, hopefully we have a special guest coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. We shall see. It'd be really cool if we do. Halftime show, Terry Ford, Tyler Head. Typically it's football, but we might mix in something else in the 1 o'clock hour as well, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors right here on the game. Halftime show, Terry Ford, Tyler Head. Football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. All right, so got the Pro Football Focus stuff up in front of me. And again, it's not the end-all, be-all, but it's just a nice little metric we can look at because there's people who actually watch these games and grade them. Now, again, we can agree or disagree about grades and all that other stuff and could be subjective, sure. But Pro Football Focus, it's another roadmap that we get to give us the full picture, right?
By the way, for those, if you question legitimacy of Pro Football Focus, when I was in the press box on Saturday, all the NFL scouts sit down in front of us, and there was a couple Panther scouts sitting in front of us. They all had Pro Football Focus numbers pulled up on the individual players they were looking at. So these numbers are legit. They go a long way, and they mean a lot to people in the industry.
Okay, between you and me, can you turn the radio off real quick?
Sure.
Probably don't want to talk about Carolina Panther scouts.
Probably don't. They were just happened to be the ones sitting in front of us. There were Charger scouts, Lions. Like there was a lot of teams represented there. I just happened to see what the Panther scouts had up in front of them.
Whatever the Panther scouts have up, obviously it's not working. But
I was sort of getting the ear of the player, like, hey, the Panthers think about drafting you, man. Maybe slow your roll a little bit. You don't want to go that high.
But really, PFF, look, like we say, it's not the end all be all, but it's just a metric we can look at because we don't. They got people grading every play, and they look for certain things it's a certain process. Pro Football Focus. South Carolina's pass rush by grade is 89.9?
It's pretty high.
Let me look at it again because I had it right here. It is, of course, I went one too far. Right now, the South Carolina pass rush grade is 89.9. I believe it, or 87, 87, my bad, 87.1. Only one pass rush in the country has a higher grade. They're the second highest graded pass rush in the country.
They're also second in the nation in sacks as well. So I'm imagining whoever has that better.
Once we tell you who it is, you'll go, oh, with what they did in the offseason, that makes total sense.
Is it Ole Miss?
Yep. Ole Miss is the only pass rush graded 90 or above. That's it.
Actually, they don't have more sacks than South Carolina. Trying to see here. Rice actually has more.
Rice's pass rush is up there, too.
Rice has 14 sacks.
Yeah, Ole Miss, their pass rush grade is sitting at 90. It's a tick over 90. It's at 90.2. So South Carolina, grade-wise, has the second highest graded pass rush in Pro Football Focus.
Ole Miss is tied for 11th with 10 sacks.
So the pressures and the hits and all that stuff must be up there.
Which, I mean, again, makes sense.
And coverage-wise, South Carolina has an 89.9 coverage grade, which puts them in the top 10 in the country.
Yep.
Now, how much of that heavy pass rush helps coverage?
That's what we were talking about earlier. We were kind of going through each position group and kind of grading, are they better, worse, or right on track with where we thought? And, Carolina is one of the better teams in the nation when it comes to pass yards allowed so far this season, but they didn't exactly face a prolific pass attack in week 1 against Old Dominion. The pass rush was so good, Kentucky couldn't get anything
They had no chance.
developed downfield, and you held them to only a handful of yards. And as the game went on Saturday, LSU started to open it up through the air a little bit more. So I don't think this secondary, in terms of coverage, has proven everything up to this point just yet.
No, I think from what we've seen, and the true test is coming.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming.
I mean, you're going to get multiple of those tests. Listen, Alabama does not throw short balls well. They just chuck it deep, and there's a 17-year-old kid that's burning everybody right now.
How funny is that? Barely has a driver's license.
By the way, that's become my new drinking game. Whenever either watching an Alabama game or watching highlights of an Alabama game, how many times they reference Ryan Williams being 17?
I know. It is funny.
We get it, okay?
Yeah, it's just he's a freak. And he doesn't, when Jadeveon Clowney comes out of high school, he looks 25.
Yeah, he's a grown man.
He was a grown man. Ryan Williams looks like he's 17.
He does. Well,
he's not like a big guy at all.
It's really funny because the most successful Alabama wide receiver in recent history, Devontae Smith, plays for the Eagles now, and they were showing him warming up before the Monday night game against the Falcons. I'm like, he still looks like he's 15.
Remember, the big knock when Devontae Smith coming out of college was he weighs 57 pounds.
Well, they call him the Slim Reaper for a reason.
Yeah, and everything's going pretty well for Devontae Smith.
It's
in the
going
NFL.
okay. It's going
Good for
okay.
him. He's developed a nice receiver. But yeah, Williams, it's not like you look at him and go, oh, no, check the birth certificate on that cat. No, he legitimately looks 17, 18 years old.
No, they hand him the kids menu when he sits down to eat at restaurants.
It's so funny. And nobody questions. You know, it's not like, we used to joke with like my kids, as they got older, you're 13 still.
Yeah.
Think you're still 13. I said, add up your birthday if you were 13 so we can get a discount. But that's the thing. You're going to see Alabama's passing attack, which is going to go after you deep. You're going to look at Ole Miss, which attacks you everywhere. And by the way, Jackson Dart, I know they're not playing anybody yet, but Jackson Dart's playing really well. I think he leads the nation in passing yards right now.
Yeah, I mean, they've been lighting up everybody like Christmas tree.
You're going to get tested coming up as the season rolls along. But I think coverage-wise, my first thought, I think O'Donnell Fortune's been solid, and he's had some good moments. I think Nick Emenwari has improved. I think Kilgore's improved. I think DQ Smith still has some struggles. I think Judge Collier is a bit on the inconsistent side. But how much have they been helped with this crazy pass rush that South Carolina has unleashed? I would say, yes, they have been helped. Because, again, covering somebody for a second and a half or 2 seconds, a lot easier than covering somebody for 6.
And it's really funny how those two units on the field can work together with each other and help each other out, because you're familiar with like coverage sacks, right? Where there's just nothing open down the field and the quarterback's staying there in the pocket, that it allows the pass rush to eventually get to him. It works on the other side too. When you're just heating up the quarterback play after play after play, they don't have time to let things develop downfield to where they're either not getting off as many passes or not getting off enough good passes to find their guys down the field.
And that's the thing, because you can make it hand in hand. I think we've seen a couple sacks this year where they have been coverage sacks, to the credit of the secondary, where you see a quarterback take a look at the first read or maybe get to the second and then gets destroyed. So I think the coverage pass rush thing, that's why you see these 2 grades so good for South Carolina. Now the run grade, that's like in the low 70s, which is still good, but it's nowhere near what the pass rush grade and the coverage grade is. And I think those things have gone hand in hand to improve. The tackling grade is also a little bit down with South Carolina.
I'm sure
after
it was
last
dinged
Saturday,
quite a bit after this past weekend. So, yeah, it's not a perfect defense by any means. Again, I mean, Kentucky, the one thing they did decently on offense was run the ball up the middle on you. And obviously LSU did something similar to you this past weekend as well. So that is something that certainly needs to improve. And like I said, the tackling, just getting guys down in open space. I was actually encouraged it was one of the first couple plays of the game. I think they got it out to one of the receivers in the flat, and it was like 3 Gamecocks were there to make the tackle. I'm like, gang tackling, having guys in position to to bring these guys down. That's what you want to see. And again, it didn't really persist through the rest of the game. But those are areas that I'm sure they're hammering into their heads this week and through the bye week next week. Because guess what? If you can't improve in those areas, Ole Miss, Alabama, Missouri, Oklahoma, they're all going to exploit those.
Yeah, and if you look at South Carolina defensively, as good as the pass rush grade is, which is phenomenal, the coverage grade, I mean, you're top 10 in the country. That's excellent. Run grade, it's 71.4, which is fine. That's above average. It's not wow, but it's above average. The tackling grade, though, is 46.1. That is way below average. So that's something that has to get cleaned up. Yeah, there were 17 missed tackles on Saturday, but the tackling grade probably wasn't wow before last Saturday either.
No, it wasn't. And you see a lot of those missed tackles. There's just good athleticism on that LSU team. And that was the first instance of playing a team that I think across the board is that talented. Certainly Kentucky has its dudes. But again, that's not the most talented team you're going to face this year. That's not the most athletic or skilled team you're going to face this year. So if you look like that against LSU, and if you don't change things and fix things, I can't imagine what you're going to look like against Ole Miss and Bama and all these other teams.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing. The tackling's got to get cleaned up. And, you just got to wrap guys up. I mean, what's good about this team this year, especially the linebacker position, is you're seeing these guys are flying to the ball, all of them. And that's a good thing that you're having that second level of your defense with that kind of athleticism, getting to the spots you need to get to. You just got to, the entire defense got to wrap up. I mean, the DBs had a real tough time tackling against LSU. They just did. But but it's just the idea. You're getting guys, you are getting hordes of players to the football, and that's a great thing. You just got to finish up and clean the tackles. That's all. But this defense compared to last year, especially last September and October, night and day. Night and day. So pass rush, second best graded pass rush in America, according to Pro Football Focus, behind Ole Miss. Pass coverage, top 10. Just the tackling has got to get better. That's really the number one knock on this defense, if you go through the grading, is the tackling. All right, Shane Beamer, of course, talking to the media yesterday like he does in his Tuesday presser. Real quick, Tyler, let's get you set up here with Shane. Talking about, let's go to cut 9. Offensively, it's getting better. It got better from week 1 to 2. It got better from week 2 to 3. Again, the injury to Lenore Sellers really hampered the offense in the second half, in my opinion. This is cut 9 with Shane, some of the biggest improvement on offense from week 1 to where it is now.
Yeah, I think just continuing to get just more and more comfortable and confident, and that's what's going to happen when you are basically starting 3 freshmen in a lot of ways and a redshirt freshman quarterback. When you talk about Mazio, Josiah, Mike Smith, receivers in camp and Dre that weren't here in the springtime, with each rep, each game, they're just going to continue to get more and more confident and comfortable, and that's what I saw. To the offensive staff, they spent a lot of time at the end of the week talking about how we want to open the game, whether, whatever you want to call it, scripting the first 10 plays, but, openers that we really want to get to early in the game and having a plan. And certainly on Saturday, I thought Lenoris did a good job of making good decisions, and I said it on the teleconference Sunday night. The first play of the game where we pulled it and dropped the ball off to Josh in the flat was a nice way to start the game, and it also happened to be the last play of the game as well. So just good decision making, clicking, efficient. Players getting more and more comfortable with what we're asking them to do, but then also getting more and more comfortable with the scheme. And we're running essentially, the run game changes a lot week to week. Not so much schematically, but formationally and schemes a little bit. But the passing game is essentially we do the same thing. We just kind of dress it up each week and add a shift, a motion, a new formation or whatnot. So I think guys are just continuing to get more and more comfortable with what we're asking them to do. But no, that was a nice drive when you can go right down the field and punch it in for 7 points. I'm feeling pretty good at that point.
That first drive was great. I mean, that script was nice. The execution was fantastic. And you go down the field on a sustained drive and you score a touchdown. It doesn't get much better than that.
No, I mean, really people are saying that was the best drive they've seen of the Loggins era so far, and that's hard to disagree with. Yeah,
I think with Dow Loggins, to be fair, is last year, it's hard to judge anything last year. Because your offensive line was everything, a combination of stuff. It was just a disaster. Tough to really look at what Dow Loggins can or can't be as an offensive coordinator when you have issues on the offensive line, the way they did. This year, you're going to get a better gauge for it's all said and done, right?
Yep.
But if you have more drives like that, you know what we have to do at some point? That script, that first 10-play script or that first drive script or however South Carolina does it, 15 plays, whatever, it will be interesting to see how the team, as the season progresses, how they play once you get past script.
Right.
How do you adjust? What did you see on the script now you can take advantage of as you call plays? So that's going to be interesting as it moves along. Friday, the Love Chevy High School Football Scoreboard Show. Elijah Campbell, our buddy Justin Hall. They'll be rolling 7 to 11. Coaches call in. They break into every game in the Midlands from beginning to end. You call in after being at a game. Thoughts, opinions. If you're into high school football, 7 to 11 on Friday, you got to crank it on here and listen to Love Chevy High School Football Scoreboard Show with Justin and Elijah. Okay, football in the 1 o'clock hour. We got more football to get to. We got some more Joe Moorhead, the Akron head coach, as he discusses what's coming for his team on both sides of the ball against South Carolina. Halftime show on the game. 803 875-MENS, Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Call Dr. Dan and the folks at Men's Clinic. Whatever the issues are, whether you're not sleeping the way you want to be sleeping, whether you just don't remember things like you used to, whether you just don't have any life drive, professional drive, personal drive, sex drive, whatever it is, you don't feel strong at the gym anymore, you don't recover well, whatever it could be, it could just be low testosterone. Very simple, very easy. Dr. Dan and the staff will sit down, they'll listen to whatever you have to say about your story and what's going on. And if it is low testosterone, they think it could be low T, they'll do some lab work. If it comes back low testosterone, they will then put you on a program to make you feel like you again. It's very simple. It's very easy. It's the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Just reach out, give them a call, 803-875-MENS, Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Go see them. Get yourself better. Trying to get some light for our guest here on the video.
Thank you.
Get Alex English in here, Hall of Famer, Gamecock legend. How you doing there, my man?
I'm doing great. Doing great. We've got a nice sunny day outside. A little rain earlier, but it's a beautiful day.
Nice. And, of course, I mean, you just didn't come here to hang out with me because you just wanted to sit around here and be on the radio, did you?
Well, I like this. I like the way I sound on the radio. So, if I had a job, maybe I'd be here. But no, I'm here to talk about my celebrity golf tournament at Cobblestone Golf Park, Golf Club on Monday morning. And we've got a dinner on Sunday evening at the Delta Hotel. So, we're looking for a bunch of stars in town and playing a great round of golf.
All right, so it's a celebrity golf tournament. Give me that list of celebrities you have here.
Oh, we've got, there's two that might not make it because they may be in the WNBA playoff. That's Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray, University of South Carolina, both Olympians. If they make it, then we won't see them. But if they don't make it, they'll be here. But the other celebrities we've got Artis Gilmore, Hall of Famer, Ralph Sampson, Hall of Famer, George Rogers, Hall of Famer and Heisman Trophy winner, and a bunch of other, guys. Sam Mitchell, who coached with me in Toronto,
nice.
Donnie Davis, who coached in Orlando, Lafayette Lever, who played with me, T.R. Dunn, who played with me, Angelo King, who played with the Dallas Cowboys, Mark Griner, who played with me, and his son, Grayson Griner, who's former baseball player here. Jeff Grant's our great quarterback who I love to death. He's one of my favorites, and just a host of others.
That's a good list there, Alex.
That's just
you did some work,
list.
man.
Yeah, I've had to work for that.
I'm telling you, you had to get it going to get your list in. It's funny because a certain age of fan base does not know, didn't get a chance to see you play, whether it was here at South Carolina or in the NBA in Denver. And you bring up like a Fats Lever and a T.R. Dunn. Of course, you had Dan Issel and all those guys. Yeah. And, man, you guys were good. You guys could score.
Thank you.
You guys could produce some points. That team, Doug Moe was your head coach.
One of the highest scoring teams in NBA history.
What was it like to be on a team that just bucket after bucket after bucket?
It was a lot of fun. It was just like playing, would you play pickup games in the park playground and playing with your buddies. I enjoyed it, and I know my teammates enjoyed it as well.
You guys,
that's before the advent of the 3-point shot.
Yeah, think about how many points you could have. You guys could have scored if the three was in play like it is today.
Yes.
Might have broke 200 with that crew you were running with, man.
Well, I don't know if I would have made any threes, but I know I had some guys on my team that could.
Let me ask you a question though. If the 3-point line was a thing when you played, you'd have been out there firing threes, like in practice in the off season. You'd have been shooting threes. Come on.
You would have had to because nowadays, if you can't make a three, you're kind of like not obsolete, but you're not as effective with your game. So. I'm sure I would have probably practiced on making that 3-point shot, but I was a mid-range game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you only had many, many years of scoring 25-plus a game with that mid-range game of yours. Real quick, because I'm such a dork about basketball and that Denver Nugget team. You guys were a playoff team every year.
Yeah.
Every year. Never quite could get over the hump to get to the finals. What was, was it like, my human nature would think you'd start to get frustrated after a while because you guys are getting so close, but you just can't get to where you can see it. You just can't get to it. Did it ever get frustrating as year after year after year you guys are in the postseason, but you just can't get to that level you want to get to?
You think it's like that, but you know that, okay, I didn't make it this year. We've got to work harder next year. And you just keep taking little baby steps. And we finally got to the NBA Finals against the Lakers, and that's when I broke my thumb in the third game. It was a 1-1 game, and we were just starting in Denver. So, I got an elbow from Kareem, and it just broke my thumb, and that was it for me for the playoffs. And of course, my team needed scoring.
Kareem planned that to take you out. You know that, right?
No, he wouldn't do that.
That wouldn't be Kareem.
A good guy.
That'd be Bill Laimbeer, maybe.
Bill Laimbeer, maybe. Mark Ivoroni.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Alex English hanging out with us. Real quick, your time over at South Carolina, because you were probably a scoring machine at 10. There probably never a time you can remember you couldn't, fill up the hoop. What do you take away from your years of playing ball here at South Carolina? What are some of the fond memories you had?
Oh, just playing for Coach McGuire, playing with my teammates. And being home, being here in my city, and playing for my university was probably one of the greatest experiences I had because, the fan base were people that I knew, people that supported us, and just being able to live on campus and get great meals down at the Roost, it was just awesome.
Now, this golf tournament you have coming up, obviously, a great list of celebrities, by the way. Fantastic work by you and the staff. But there's more to it than just let's go get a bunch of famous people together and play golf. There's a method to your madness, sir.
Yes, well, you have to get sponsorship first.
Absolutely.
William Walkup has done a great job of being a sponsor for us for the last 3 years, and this year we've got Applied Underwriters who's helping out. But we've got a bunch of different sponsors, with Mr. Walkup being our major sponsor. Aflac, Classic Ford of Columbia, just getting all the local people to come out and represent by being a sponsor and going to them and making sure they're aware of what we're doing. But the number one thing is that we are raising money for different organizations, different charities. In the past, we raised a lot of money for Family Promise of the Midlands, but this year, I started my own foundation, so we're going to be able to help other folk. We're going to be able to help other organizations that need help, and I'm looking forward to it. We want people to apply for. If they want to apply, they can go to the Let's Share Foundation, letssharefoundation.com, and apply. But we want to be able to help a lot of people. We've done mainly homeless in the past, but we're doing something different this year as well because we're also doing a Let's Share talent quest for Richland District 1, meaning that we're going to get all of the top talent at all the high schools to come together and compete for scholarship money to go to college. And that's later on in the spring, but right now we're doing the golf tournament, and that's the most important thing.
You do good work in the community, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Doing fantastic work.
I grew up 3 blocks away from Barnwell and Gervais.
You playing?
I'm going to ride around. I'm not a great player. I love playing, but, I've got to ride around and be a celebrity and shake hands and thank people for coming out to support us. And I enjoy that as well.
Yeah, I could dork off and talk basketball. We've done this before where we've done the other shows, and I could sit here and pick your brain and talk basketball all day because it's just like, well, first of all, you're a phenomenal player, and two, you got great stories. Your stories are fantastic about back in the day.
And I want people to come out and support our women's and men's basketball teams because both of them are going to be very good this year. I expect Dawn Staley to repeat, and I expect Coach Paris and the team to be in the Final Four.
Oh,
they are that talented.
Look at you.
I want people to come out and support our team. And don't forget our football team. We got robbed last weekend, but I think Coach Beamer's done a great job that defense was just awesome.
Wasn't it?
Awesome.
Real quick, golf tournament date again at Cobblestone.
It's this weekend, September the 21st, 22nd?
Yep.
22nd, 23rd.
Yes.
This weekend. Sunday evening at the Delta Hotel, and then Monday morning at the Cobblestone Country Club of the Midlands, and looking for a great time.
Thank you, like always, for coming in, my man. Always great talking to you.
I appreciate you.
It's always good for me. Trust me. Selfishly, I love it. Alex English with us. We'll talk more about his golf tournament on the other side as well. Give you some places to go and check things out. Alex, thanks for coming in, my friend.
Thank you.
Halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head here on The Game.
All right.
Welcome back in. It is the halftime show. Tyler Head and Terry Ford along with you here on your Wednesday on the game. It is football in the 1 o'clock hour. And again, appreciate Alex English there hanging out with us for a few minutes, talking a little bit of golf and basketball as well. We do deviate from the course from time to time. It's okay. Oh,
yeah. I mean, sometimes we can't go football. With Alex English, we break the rules.
We make exceptions.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. So, great to talk to Alex English. Again, the golf tournament's coming up this Sunday and Monday. They play Monday. They have a big dinner on Sunday. And you can donate. You can go to Alex English Golf. Is that what it is? Let me see here. AlexEnglishGolf.com. And there's where you can find out all about the tournament. There's a button here, I believe, where you can hit. There's a link about donating, and you can find out all about the different charities. It's for a great cause. Got some cool celebrities there as well, so it'll be fun. It's a Sunday and Monday. They'll play Monday, September 23rd. Appreciate Alex English coming in. I could dork and talk basketball with Alex English all day.
Oh, for sure.
I do. Those Denver teams he played on, those guys, they just ran up and down the court and scored buckets.
Fortunately, I just have to watch highlights. I was not around for those days.
The sad thing is, I was a little Terry Ford, and you didn't have. See, today, people take for granted you can watch almost any game you feel like watching.
Sure.
Back in the old days, you didn't have that. When I was a little teeny kid, you had ABC, NBC, CBS. And that independent channel that ran all the reruns of Like I Dream of Jeannie and Hogan's Heroes and all the other 60s and 70s TV shows. That's what we had. So you did, and then when you got cable, you still didn't get every game. You would get a game of the week or this or that or the other or whatever.
Yeah.
So we couldn't watch that team either. I'm like you. I'd have to go back and watch it like on YouTube, look for highlights of how good those guys were. But this guy Fats Lever was a triple-double machine back in the day before people knew triple-double machines.
Right.
And, Dan Issel was a Hall of Famer, Alex English. They were stupid good on offense. Doug Moe was the coach, and Doug Moe's idea was let's just outscore everybody. It was fun. And Alex talking about when they got to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Lakers that one year. But anyway, great for Alex English to come in and talk the charity golf tournament, talk a little hoops with us. And I said to him when he was leaving, he was like, we're going to bug you during basketball season now. He's like, just hit me up. So good to talk to Alex English. All right, football in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll get back to it. Sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. We were talking about Joe Moorhead at Akron, and we heard his riff earlier about playing South Carolina. Now let's flip over. Talk about his defense is not very good. If you look at yards per game, Pro Football Focus grades, whatever the case, defense hasn't been very good. Here is Cut 22, Joe Moorhead, talking about his defense so far this year at Akron.
Yeah, we, continue to see the defense make positive strides, season to season and game to game. And certainly after those first couple drives there where we gave up some points, they really buckled down, contained the quarterback run. We're able to get a pass rush, provide some good tight coverage, and, keep them to 3 in the second half.
Yeah, Colgate was up 17-0 at one point, and then Akron made their run to win the game. And they won it by multiple scores. But the Akron defense, and look, they've played. Rutgers isn't a great offense, but Rutgers is very physical on offense, and they run the ball, and they're a capable offense.
Yeah.
Ohio State obviously a different animal, and Akron hung out for half of that football game against Ohio State, and then the Buckeyes went, all right, let's quit playing opposite-handed.
Their best player is on defense. It's C.J. Nunley, who plays edge. He was a first-team All-American for the MAC last year and a preseason first-team All-American for the MAC this year. They only got 2 sacks on the season so far, but he's somebody that you're definitely going to have to watch out for. Again, Carolina's done a decent job when it comes to pass protection. Still certainly a work in progress, but he's somebody that definitely number 19 they're going to have to keep your eye on Saturday.
So, South Carolina, offensively, it should be there for you. You just got to protect the football. Don't turn it over. And, you should be able to do some damage on offense. Speaking of ball security, let's get to Cut 19, Shane Beamer here. Tyler, Shane talking about the issues. There's been some fumbling going on this year with the South Carolina offense. Gamecocks have recovered a good amount of them, But again, you don't want to be sitting around banking on the luck of the oblong ball bouncing your way. Here's Shane.
Yeah, that one's hard for me too because that's all we talk about. And in practice, y'all have been out there, we do some sort of, we call it turnover tackle circuit, but we call it, stiff arm, where you sideline and back. Y'all have seen us do that, and everybody works on stiff arm in with ball security. And then the other one we call is called stumble bum, where you run and your hand goes down to the ground, and the defender is trying to pop it out. We do what we call double ball, where you put 2 balls in each hand, and a lot of college teams do this. But that drill, we have other drills that we do for that. We do it every Tuesday and Wednesday during practice. And then in addition, after that's over, we always start practice like today with a takeaway circuit where the defense works on taking the ball away, but then also another ball security circuit just for the offense. So we kind of going back to the penalties. We've just got to do a better job of emphasizing it. But to answer your question, I think, we've put the ball on the ground 7 times in the last 2 games. You're not going to survive doing that. And a lot of them is just, Dowd will tell you, and the quarterbacks will tell you, they've got to be better with their ball security, not hanging on to the ball too long in the pocket. And when you are in the pocket, making sure we're using the techniques that we want you to. When you are running it, make sure you're carrying the ball the way that we teach you to carry it. The one happened with Josh the other day. We'd love for that ball. If it was over there on their sideline, I think that ball was in his inside hand, if I'm not mistaken. And we teach, to get that ball in the outside hand because the pursuit's coming from inside out. So it's frustrating, but again, at the same time, it's something that we're emphasizing, but we've got to do a better job of emphasizing it for sure.
You just can't put the ball on the ground. Eventually it bites you. So if you don't do that on Saturday, you should have yourself a victory against Akron. Just keep everybody healthy. Maybe get the bugs out of some stuff you want to get the bugs out of, and get ready for your Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma gauntlet that's coming up.
Yeah, make your way through the weekend, be healthy, and pick up a win, and hopefully get a lot of guys out there on the field to continue to develop and get you the reps that you need for those guys.
All right, it's so funny as we're doing football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. I'm looking up. We got our TVs going. We got ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN. It's the Pat McAfee show, and they're showing they just stayed on this multiple-minute riff on Arch Manning. Arch Manning, if you missed it, not only had 4 touchdown passes on Saturday, also had a 62-yard touchdown run.
Yep.
Where he looked just like his family members, Eli and Peyton.
Well, remember, his dad was the receiver.
Yes,
the
Cooper.
faster one of the 3 brothers.
Cooper Cooper had a back injury that ended his football playing career.
Yep.
But he was the more athletic of the 3.
Right.
He was the oldest. But yeah, Arch took off and ran, and he outruns the Texas San Antonio defenders to the end zone for a touchdown, plus threw 4 touchdown passes. His Heisman Trophy odds went up. They're higher than yours.
Oh yeah, people have already forgotten about Quinn Ewers. It's hilarious.
I mean, Arch Manning is a thing. I guarantee you right now, sports talk in Austin and across the state of Texas is all about one of the topics. Arch Manning needs to be the starting quarterback. Forget Ewers.
Definitely.
And Ewers is good. Quinn Ewers is developed into a very nice starting quarterback on the collegiate level. But the love of Arch Manning is hilarious. Absolutely. We'll get to some more football in the 1 o'clock hour, and also what's trending at 2 as well. We'll come back, get our Firehouse Sub text of the hour at 803-404-6100. And we have tons of other stuff. What I also want to get to in the next segment, you're not happy with your playing time at Ohio State? Got a place you can go. And they're offering something pretty good. We'll get to that. Yes, we will. All right, the game, we're out all over the place. CHW Cabinetry. The post-game show with special guest Jen Jensen. Thursday, 2-Notch in Lexington. Also, post-game show, our Friday tailgate at Columbia Craft on Green Street in the Vista. That also goes 3 to 6. So, hitting the road on Thursday and Friday, the post-game show with Jay and Elijah. And on Thursday, special guest Jen Jensen. Firehouse Sub text the hour. And if you're at Ohio State, you're being tempted. 803-404-6100 is the text line. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, it's a halftime show, going till 3 on the game. Firehouse sub text to the hour. We'll get to that first. 803-404-6100. Oh, texter says, Can't have the legend on and not ask about the LeBron and MJ debate. No, I can and not do that. Thank you for the text. That is a debate that to me is, it's one of those debates in life that it's to the point now where it's, if you're a LeBron guy, you're a LeBron guy. If you're an MJ guy, you're an MJ guy. That's not a debate. It's like you're going to debate your guy. The other person's going to debate their guy. You're not going to change their mind. They're going to change your mind. And you're just going to have the same old tired conversation. Now, would it be interesting to get Alex English's take on it? Yeah, I guess. But I don't think, again, I just think that's one of those. It's one of those to me, and just because I've been doing this for so long, there are certain things I feel like you go to when you got nothing else. If you got nothing else to talk about, let's do Mount Rushmores. Let's do GOATs. Let's do MJ and LeBron. Let's do Brady Peyton. They're just tired back and forth, dog chasing their tail conversations that no one said anything different. If you got something new, that's one thing. But it's all the same stuff. It just is. And just for me, I don't think about it because I just don't go there. Because to me, I pushed that topic away because it's just the same old stuff. And like, very small part of your audience goes crazy when everybody else goes, that again, really? We're gonna talk about that again. Don't you guys have anything better to talk about? So, Texter, you might be right. Maybe I should have asked an NBA legend his thought, but this doesn't cross my mind. I packed that one away a long time ago. Well, I appreciate the text, 803-404-6100. All right. Marshall head coach Charles Huff talking about Ohio State. Because Marshall, that's what they get to deal with on Saturday. Charles Huff made a very interesting offer to Ohio State players if they do want to leave Columbus and transfer somewhere else. He's got something at Marshall that might be interesting to them. Cut 33, Dave. Hit it.
I feel good about the track we're on. Trust me, I know where we are, but I feel good about the track we're on. And I feel good about the players we have. Would love to have some of those guys from Ohio State, too. So if they want to transfer on down, we've got a Tudor's Biscuit NIL, all you can eat. So if any of those guys that run really, really fast at Ohio State like Tudor's Biscuits, I promise you, all you can eat all day if you transfer here. So, but yeah.
See, that would be interesting to me. Oh, Tudor's Biscuits. I've never had a Tudor's Biscuit, but I looked at this online. They look good. They got a blackberry butter biscuit thing that looks ridiculous. So if I knew Tudor's Biscuits, I might want to go play at Marshall. Just go, because I can go to Tudor's Biscuits anytime I want. Doesn't it depend on, too, what level player you are? Like, if you're a high-level player, you're probably getting more NIL than Tudor's Biscuits. But if you're just like a dude on the team, Tudor's Biscuits is gold. It's like, like here, Bojangles or Hardee's or whoever makes biscuits in the morning. There's some places that specialize in biscuits and breakfast as well. Man, if they'd start doing NIL, there you go. That Blueberry biscuit, man, I don't know. I might pull you. Just saying. Or it's steak, egg, and cheese or steak and egg. Anyway. Now, for me, any type of place that offers a smash burger, I might be all over that. Or milkshakes. I could easily be bought as a high-level athlete with food. And like desserts. Absolutely. I could be bought. So that was Charles Huff. Pretty interesting stuff there from Charles Huff, head coach at Marshall. I don't like how he went. Look, I love my players. I do, but those Ohio State guys, if they're disgruntled and they want to transfer, we got a Tudor Biscuit NIL for you. Just saying. Just saying, Ohio State players. All right, what's trending at 2 is coming up. Sponsored by Gamecock Traditions and Traditions Fine Jewelry. We'll get that cooking. Also, today the coordinators are talking. So later on today, we'll have some sound from Dow Loggins, and we'll get some OC and DC as well from Clayton White. All that coming up on the halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head. We run this baby up until 3 on the game. And don't forget, post-game show on the road, CHW Cabinetry, 2 Notch in Lexington Thursday, Friday, Columbia Craft, the Tailgate Show, Green Street in the Vista. What's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. That's coming up next here on the halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head on the game.
Welcome back in. It is the halftime show. Tyra and Terry Ford along with you here on your Wednesday on the game. Appreciate Alex English again hanging out with us for a couple minutes in the last hour. Of course, basketball legend here locally and across America and the world. Speaking of basketball, yesterday when we were out at Firehouse Subs in Lexington, we got to hang out with a newer Gamecock, Nick Pringle, transferring over from the University of Alabama. He sat down with Wes, Chris, and myself for a few more minutes, got to know him a little bit more as he gets set for his first season as a Gamecock for Lamont Paris' team. I want to re-rack some of that interview for you right here. This is Nick Pringle with us out at Firehouse Subs yesterday.
Definitely excited for sure.
Yeah, Nick, just take us through it, man. What have the last few months been like? Kind of just, the whole 9 yards, getting to play here in your home state, getting to know all your new teammates. What all can you tell us just about the experience so far, man?
Man, it's really been good, man. I mean, it's really good, first being home. I mean, second, surrounding yourself with, people that you are familiar with, people, it's just, it's kind of a small world a little bit. I mean, you see a lot of these guys, come up. So it's kind of excited just to, be able to build bonds and play alongside them on the court, while playing for a great coach as well. So it's been amazing. You got a lot of mentors, a lot of great coaches around. So it's been a lot of teaching. We got, about half and half young guys, older guys. So, it's a lot of, older guys stepping up. It's a lot of fast learners as young guys. So, I mean, it's been really amazing just to see, the improvement we made over the summer, the conditioning standpoint, skill standpoint. And I think it's just all, putting basketball together, with heart. So, and I think that's what it's going to come down to.
You mentioned coming back home. You're originally from South Carolina, started at Wofford, went to Alabama. Now you're back here. What did that process look like at the end of last season to get you here back to South Carolina?
Man, I mean, I really kind of, I said before, like I feel like I needed a reset. I feel like I needed, to play for someone, that could see me, possibly being a potential NBA player in the future, and feel like Lamont Paris is the perfect someone for that. He's going to allow me to feel every facet of my game. He's going to teach me. He's going to, continue to motivate me to be the person I am. And that's one thing. I don't want to, change anything I did at, Alabama, but I do want to, do more. I do want to, become a better leader. A more efficient offensive player, a great defensive player. Like, I just want to, help, feel. I just want to play for my home state, really. I mean, it was just big time, really, just for me to, come back and, play for my home team. And, it's been really great, man. I mean, it's I don't know, man. It's exciting, man, just to think about, for real.
So, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. I think there was a video that kind of leaked out when you committed. Did you tell the staff at a restaurant that you were committed? Is that right?
Man, I couldn't even get my commitment out before. I literally had to rush find the pictures, this and that, because I seen everybody recording, and I think my commitment was actually on Twitter before I got the post. So it was still a surreal moment. I mean, I did it really quick. Everybody was surprised. I mean, they thought I was going on another visit, but I mean, I just shut it down right then and there. Everybody just looking around the table what? Like, everybody just got up excited. My mom started, tearing up a little. Like, that was one of her big things too, me coming home. And I mean, it was just, very exciting to be able to do that. And the process, has been great since then. Just feel like I've been here, forever, really.
Was the food that good, or what was it about?
Hey, I don't know.
What was it about the moment that you were like, "Hey, this is it. I want to be here"?
Yeah, when you eating hibachi my favorite type of food. So it put me in a good mood, good spot, and everything just felt right in the moment. And I mean, it is. So I don't regret any decision I have made. I mean, it's been amazing, man. I don't think I had a coaching staff, pushing, this much motivation on me, just expecting me to be the player that I should be. And, I just want to give it all back to them because they're putting it all into me. So it's going to be great, man.
Did they know hibachi was your favorite beforehand, or was that just a coincidence?
I think I did tell them, but I didn't know about Hanabi at the moment. So it was pretty good. The cook was fun. I mean, everything just felt right in the moment. I mean, it was amazing, man.
So, Nick, you were mentioning how, obviously your reputation is to be a great defensive player, but you mentioned becoming a more efficient offensive player. the last game that some Gamecock fans would have seen you play in was against Clemson.
Yeah.
In the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
And you had a really good game. You had 16 points, 11 rebounds, shot about 67% from the field. Is that type of performance kind of what you're eyeing for this season?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, just anything that can impact winning. I mean, whether it's, game-winning blocks or really double-doubles is a big-time thing. That's my goal this year. I mean, I really feel like I'm a player that has a caliber that's able to go out and do that. And I feel like, me not doing that every night is kind of, selling myself short. So, I want to train my mind, train my body to be able to go out there and do that every night, I feel like this is going to be a team where, it's going to be, this guy's game here, this guy's game here. Like, it's going to all start on defense, though. And I feel like once we sit down, we got long athletic guys. Once we sit down, play defense, play in transition, like, it's going to be, it's going to be peaches and cream after that. Like, we're going to be pretty solid, man.
If you're just joining us, we're here at Firehouse Subs, joined by Nick Pringle. This is the Gamecock Club interview. Nick, talk us through your game on the court, but more from a leadership standpoint. I've heard in practice you're a talker. You're a guy that's kind of constantly communicating with your teammates. Like you mentioned, this is a group where you do have a lot of new guys, and some of them are older transfers. You got Cam, who's maybe the young guy in the group. Where do you see sort of your role being in terms of just kind of trying to bring everybody together on the court? What's kind of your leadership style?
Really, I growing up, I kind of, noticed that, everything that I did was pretty much contagious. Like, so my energy, the effort, the talk. So, I try to do everything to a T. I even got, the coaches, on the side, pushing me to be a better leader. Even if I feel like I'm already doing a great job, like, I love that. Like, I love reassurance. I love, people willing to push me to be my best. And, I mean, me being my best is helping my teammates become, better people and players in general. And I feel like, as I came up, I kind of, struggled, with saying the right things, when to say it, how to say it. I had to learn, personalities, learn how to talk to certain people and how they learn things, because everybody come from different places. Everybody came from different, play styles. So, just, trying to help mesh everything together, not even necessarily an on-court coach, but like just trying to, just make the most out of the team, just get the best out of everybody when you can. So I think, I've done a good job with that over the summer. I do want to get the team talk more. I mean, we were very active. We were physical. I mean, we're going to be in good in that standpoint. But I think it's all the little things like floor dives and hustling and like just doing all the little things. All the little things going to eventually put the puzzle together for us to be a successful team this year.
Last season, Talon Cooper came in here as a transfer. I think he had, 130 games of experience under his belt before playing at South Carolina, and he was very easily seen as that leader. I don't know if you've got to know him or ever talked to him at any point. What have you heard about his leadership style and what he meant to this team a year ago?
And I heard he was a very, vocal guy. I don't know him personally. I know of him. I don't know him personally, but, I heard he was a very great leader. I mean, he spoke up when he needed to. I mean, him and Michi was the two, heads of the horse last year, and I feel like, I feel like my goal is to, get everybody on that same level. I mean, even if I'm, the most vocal leader, I want everybody, like even Colin, even Kobe, like I want those guys, to step up, say what we have to say, just help this team be the best we can possible. I mean, I feel like communication and leadership will take us a long way.
Nick, this is obviously a Gamecock Club interview, so can you talk to us a little bit about the community service aspect of NIL and kind of the way you can maybe use NIL to empower you to do things in the community, and just maybe that's a side of NIL that doesn't get talked about enough. How much have you maybe seen in your personal life NIL help you be able to do those things?
I can say honestly, NIL definitely helped me. I actually hosted, a giveaway, a few weeks ago, which was very good. I mean, it didn't turn out, great. I had it on a Friday. It was right after school, so I didn't get too much people to show up, but I did, eventually I had I think 120 supply bags, and I went to Eau Claire and, gave them away there, and it felt great to me. I mean, I didn't want to, just give it away and let them donate. I wanted to actually do it myself. I wanted to be involved with the community. Another instance, we went painting with some kids last week. That was fun. I didn't, expect it to be like that. I mean, NIL, I mean, it's people just think about, getting money, this and that, like I don't really see it. I feel like you can really impact, a lot of things with that. I mean, there's a lot of people struggling. It's a lot of people, that needs things out there, and I feel like that's the way I would impact. Like I still want to go back to my city and do like a giveaway or a tour drive or something like that, just to inspire kids to eventually get to this point in their lives.
Now, how are your painting skills?
My painting skills is pretty good. I had like 30-minute window, and I crushed it, so it was pretty cool.
We do like to use these to let people get to know the athletes a little bit more off the court, off the field. So. What are your hidden talents? Do you have any kind of off-the-court hobbies or things that maybe people don't know about you, other than painting, obviously?
Hidden talents. I did play the trumpet growing up, so I think I'll still be a pretty good trumpet player.
So if the band needs a fill-in during a game, you can like hop over there.
I'm so invested in the bands, so even at at Alabama, I was very invested into our band. I mean, a lot of people just see me as a selfless person. Like I interact with literally anybody. Like I'm just a selfless person with a lot of personality. Like it's just fun, just being involved with a lot of things. And so yeah, if the band need me, I'm definitely down for it for sure. So
it's part of our conversation with Nick Pringle, who of course is brand new to Gamecock basketball this year, transferring over from Alabama a season ago. Certainly excited to see what he's going to be able to do with this team coming up here when the season starts, right here in a little over a month and a half, I guess. So be here before we know it. A little bit more of that conversation coming up on the other side as the halftime show with Tyler Head and Terry Ford rolls on your Wednesday here on The Game. Welcome back in. It is the halftime show. Tyler Head and Terry Ford along with you here on your Wednesday on the game. We're doing something a little bit different with what's turning it to. Yesterday, we got the opportunity to catch up with a new member of Gamecock men's basketball, Nick Pringle, transferring over from Alabama. That was yesterday morning. We were at Firehouse Subs. I know a lot of you that are listening now may have not gotten to hear that conversation. So when I hit the second part of that, just a couple more minutes of our conversation with the newest member, or one of the new members, of Gamecock men's basketball with Nick Pringle. And I started off this segment here by asking him what his experience was like being a part of that overtime game 2 seasons ago, where South Carolina took Alabama all the way down to the limit. Unfortunately, came up a little bit short, but Nick Pringle was obviously on the other side for that game.
Man, I'll tell you, it was definitely a rough environment. I'll tell you that. I mean, I definitely had a lot of family in the stands. It was crazy though, man. Just I was teammates with Brandon Miller at that point, so it was all for us at that moment. But like it was amazing, man. It was crazy. Like, fans were talking so much trash. You got fights in the crowd. It was just so much stuff going on. But it was a great environment in general. Like, it was one of the best environments I've played in at an away game. So I don't know if it was because family was in the crowd, but I think that's a plus for this year. I mean,
sure. They'll be on your side now.
Yeah, we're gonna pack it out. So it's gonna be really fun to see. I think the energy that they're gonna bring and give us. I mean, I think it's gonna carry us a long way.
Nick, I was a huge fan of Talon Tuesday last year. Maybe my favorite show that exists last year. So I know there was one video. Are you truly the replacement host? Do we have our own show coming on social media? Can you tease that a little bit for us?
It's going to be prime time with Pringle.
Okay.
It's going to be similar to Talon Tuesdays. I mean, we got some stuff in the works, so we're gonna start getting that going soon.
How excited are you about that?
I'm excited about it. I mean, it's something new for me. I mean, it's like some script stuff, but it's different. I mean, I'm a major of communication, so it's something that I'll eventually be doing. So this would be a good start to start learning how to do so.
I would say, talk to you for 20 minutes. You definitely have the personality.
Oh yeah,
it seems like
definitely.
What do you want to do after? Communication. So communicating somehow, but do you want to analyze basketball? Do you want what do you want to do?
I mean, it's really a lot of things I want to do. Definitely analyze basketball. I mean, I definitely want to be like a mentor to kids and just things like that. Just I think about other people than myself. So I really want to do stuff with youth and to teach them, give them my story. Just help them avoid certain aspects of life. So to make it easier for them to eventually be successful. So I think that would be a big time.
Is coaching a possibility? Is that
coaching? Everybody really says that about me. I mean, I definitely got some work to go, but I say coaching is definitely something that I'll be interested in for real.
I think the most important question: have you tried Lamont Paris's mac and cheese yet?
No, I haven't.
You have not. It's apparently legendary.
That's a
what
thing?
He says.
That's a thing.
That's a thing.
I've heard about it too a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I ain't had that mac and cheese. I need that.
He brags about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if is it just your classic mac and cheese, but it's just really good, or is there like a secret?
A little secret ingredient.
Like he puts bacon in it or something, which I would be in favor of.
That would be good. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm for that. So, speaking of Lamont Paris, can you give us an idea, kind of the day-to-day, what it's like being with this coaching staff now that you've been around him for a few months?
It's really been good, man. It's like Lamont Paris, man. He's been awesome. Like he's a guy that just wants to give confidence to his players. He wants to teach them the right thing, the right way to do things. I mean, he lets you play freely. I mean, like he really allows you to do anything you work on. So I mean, it's very it's different for me, because I've been I feel like I've been kind of limited all my career, and I feel like he's given me the opportunity to actually showcase more of my game. Definitely working on my footwork in the post. Just slowing down, being smart about what I do. Connecting guys on the defensive end, and just making it's some small changes that he has defensively that I didn't do at Bama, but I mean it's easy changes. So I mean it's very inspirational just to see how great of a coach he is, man. Because I mean SEC Coach of the Year last year, like I mean that's not coincidental. I mean, he's proven that he's done it at different levels. He did it in the SoCon. I played against him in the SoCon. It's gonna be amazing, man. Just to see how much he gives to his players in general. I mean, he's just, starting with love, bro. Like, that's where it starts. You start with love off the court. I mean, on the court. I mean, but he give you the tough love on the court as well. I mean, but I love the way he teaches and allows you to, just be yourself. But he's trying to, just build you to be the best player you can possible.
You come from one of the best programs in college basketball at Alabama. What kind of similarities do you see between what you saw there and what you're seeing here with what Coach Paris is building?
Really, I really like the way we play. Honestly, I mean, he wants you to take smart shots. I mean, he's not against the mid range as Bama was, but I really feel like he just allows you to play your best game. He wants you to dominate in the post, get every post touch, and the unselfishness of this team. Like, I feel like this is one of the most unselfish teams I've been on. And I don't know if it's because it's a mixture of younger, older guys, but I really feel like, this team is very unselfish. And, like I said, anybody can go off on any given night. So I think that's very, inspiring to just be a part of this.
Nick, we talked about the fan support and everything and the community on, I'm told, Saturday at the Akron football game. You're going to be signing autographs.
Yes, I will.
4:20 until 5 o'clock. You and some teammates, I think, from the basketball program will be over there, so make sure you go check that out. You excited about that?
Definitely. I definitely love doing that, too. I mean, even in the last signing we had, we kind of shut it down a little early, but I seen a couple of people that was still in line. I felt really bad. I just seen the first 3 people that was eyeing me. I was like, yeah, let me just go ahead and sign it. I walked it up to them. I'm just that type of person. I just like, giving back. If people, want to meet me, I'm going to take my time out my day to talk to them. I mean, you'll never see me, walking around grumpy, mad, or like I'm just open. I like doing that, man. It's exciting.
Now, do you work on the autograph? Like, do you craft it, or is it more of a scribble? Or?
Nah, I wouldn't say it's a scribble. I actually put my name. I try to take my time with it. I kind of perfected it a little bit. So I'm working on a shorter one though. Trying to more like a logo type signature, but I'm gonna stick to what I do now. I mean, I do it pretty fast. I mean, it's not that hard. So.
Did you go to game day on Saturday, by the way?
I didn't get to go out there.
But you went to the game.
I went to the game. I didn't go to the game day. I wish I did, but I heard people was out there from like 5 o'clock, probably.
Before that, they were there the last day before. Last night.
Yeah, I believe that too. And I mean, that for instance, I hope we get the same energy. I mean, that's amazing, man. Like, just seeing things like that. I mean, of course, I've seen game days, but I mean that in the rain, like that's amazing. That's different, and that's what being in Columbia is all about. I mean, it's they got love for the sports. I mean, the fans are amazing. I mean, they want it as much as we do. So that's what you want.
Have you perfected your towel waving for Sandstorm yet?
I still kind of get it wrapped around my my wrist a little bit sometimes, but I've been taking bigger towels, so that's probably why.
Okay. There you go. Hey, I'm curious. So, being a home state guy, being back in your home state, I should say, what do you think it's going to be like the first time your name is announced and you're in the crowd and we're not doing football anymore, we're on a basketball court? What would that moment be like for you to be out there the first time?
Man, it's going to be surreal, honestly. I mean, my brother, he passed away in 2018. He was a big South Carolina fan, football, basketball. I mean, that was his dream. I mean, I was in 10th grade, going to 11th grade when he passed. So he didn't get to see me, actually come out and be the player that I am today. So, literally everything I do is dedicated to him. My giveaway was Trace for Trey organization. That's like, I literally do everything for him. So I live by him. I feel like he gives me a lot of energy, to do the things that I do. I mean, I try to stay positive as much as I can. But, just hearing my name, announced for the first time, it's gonna be crazy, man. Like, I have a lot of family members that got season tickets, so I know for a fact like they will be there. Like, I just know how much support. I came from a village, bro, so I know like I'm gonna have a lot of people behind me, and I feel like we're having like 6, 7, 8 South Carolina guys on this team. Like, it's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be real love, and not even just fans. It's gonna be family in the crowd. So it's gonna make us do whatever, to get our wins.
Last thing for you here, got right about a minute. Obviously, people very excited about the NCAA tournament trip last year. From what you've seen of this team through practice and everything, why should people be more excited about this season?
Hey, it's literally everybody. Like, everybody's has my build. That's all we have. Like, everybody's just lengthy, athletic. everybody just want to go get it, man. And so, I mean, everybody, we were still, figuring out, where everyone's strong suit is, but it's coming together so easy. I mean, our bond on and off the court is crazy. I mean, like, I don't think, I'll build a bond with a team this fast, It was, we just got together in what, June. Like, it wasn't even that long, but I feel like I've known these guys for about 5 years plus. Like, that's how much we hang out. That's how much we talk and we joke with each other. I mean, it just feels like a real brotherhood over there, and that's very exciting just to see.
Again, that's Nick Pringle, new member of Gamecock men's basketball, transferring from Alabama, and we're going to be seeing and hearing a lot about him this upcoming season and what is hopefully another successful year for Lamont Paris's crew here at South Carolina. Today is September the 18th. That means it is the greatest day in the history of the world. We'll hit that coming up next. It is the halftime show. Tyler Head and Terry Ford along with you on your Wednesday on The Game.
Oh, time for the greatest day in the history of the world here on the Halftime Show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, glad you could be hanging here on the game. And always remember, you can download the 107.5 The Game app, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, wherever you go. You can just download 107.5 The Game and listen anywhere, and it costs you nothing. Great price, Tyler. Free is a wonderful thing.
That's my favorite.
You know, and you know what? When it's free, it sounds better.
Of course. Well, I mean, you ever had bad free food? No, of course not. You didn't have to pay for it.
Because even if it wasn't great, you know what you say?
Yeah. Didn't cost me anything.
It was free. What the hell? Didn't bother me because it was free. All right, greatest day in the history of the world. This day, 1938. No, 1899.
Going all the way back.
Really going way back. Way back, 1899. The Cincinnati Open begins, the oldest tennis tournament in the United States. It's still played in its original city. It's now known as Cincinnati Masters and Women's Open.
Okay.
Started in 1899.
Can I go back even further?
Oh, you got a better one?
I got a better one. How about on this day in 1848?
Oh.
Baseball officially ruled the first baseman can tag the base instead of the runner to get them out.
What year was that?
1848.
Nice. I'd like to have seen it like before, where you're always tagging the runners.
You just have to go out there and club them.
I was going to say, how hard are you tagging runners in 1847?
It's a good question.
I'm seeing some dudes getting slugged.
Probably so.
Yeah, back in 80. Are they wearing Civil War gear when they're playing?
Yeah. I don't think they had shin guards and cups and all those kind of things. Evo shields on their wrists.
Probably those gloves. Remember, you see those gloves from the early 1900s?
Yeah. That is the funny thing about baseball is all the accessories that have come into it. Look, when I played, as a kid, and even when I got into high school, I wore batting gloves. That was it. I had batting gloves, and take them on, put them on for the bat, take them off from the at bat. But I started looking around, and I never played travel ball, and I know it's kind of a different culture when it comes to baseball. But most of my high school teammates were travel ball guys, and they got sleeves, and they got shields, and they got bands and necklaces, and all this stuff. I'm like, does this stuff really help you play baseball better?
No, not at all. I was bottom hand batting glove guy. Not
Just
top
one?
hand.
Okay.
Because I took my top hand off the bat.
Okay.
I was one of those guys. And so I always had batting glove on bottom hand. But that was pretty much it. I didn't need all the other stuff that other people wanted. I was just, give me a batting glove on bottom hand. I'm good. Don't even give me a batting helmet.
Yeah.
I don't need any of that mess. You go up there and hit.
Like a man.
That's right. Back where they did in 1847.
Yeah, there were no batting helmets back then. If you took one off the noggin, you just laid there, first of all, and I don't know. They get something pretty strong to stick up your nose so you'd come back too.
I wonder, if you're going to the first baseline, you'll occasionally see this in baseball games where the runner stops.
Yeah.
To try to force whatever's going on the bases. So back before you just tag the bag, if a guy decided to stop halfway in the line, I guess you had to chase him back down the line to tag him.
That's a good question. Did they have the baseline rule?
I was
going
to say, if not, you could run all over the outfield. The dude's chasing you everywhere.
Right, I'm going to divert the first baseman with the ball. So you run from second all the way home. I'm sure it was tried if there was no baseline rule back then.
And, because Ty Cobb we heard he was not a very nice fella. I'm probably slugging people.
Oh,
Ty Cobb hitting people with bats. Last old school, 1938 on this day. Now, we think Thursday Night Football is boring.
Yes.
This day, 1938, the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers. Bears beat the Packers 2-0.
I would be proud of that one.
Yeah, 2-0.
You know what's really funny, and I don't know if other people do this. I randomly like to go back and look at old football schedules from hey, see how Rutgers looked in 1910. For one, just to see some of the ridiculous schools they play. They play, all right, they're playing the Piscataway School for the Deaf.
Oh.
And they beat them 98-0. I'm like, well, yeah, I would expect them to.
Some of the schools that played football and basketball in the early 1900s that aren't even schools anymore.
Yeah.
Don't even exist.
But there were so many weird scores back then. You'd either have it'd be 50-0, or it'd be 6-3, or 4-2. You know what I mean? I'm like, and I get it. The forward pass hadn't come along at that point in time, but football had some pretty obscure scores back in the day.
And these teams that were really good, and then you go, What's that? Oh, that stopped being a school in 1946.
Oh, some of them played high schools.
It's crazy.
There was a whole. I fell into a whole rabbit hole a while back of like teams that played high schools at some point. And again, this was back in like the 1800s or 1900s. But we were talking about like Michigan has the most wins in NCAA history, and a bunch of them were against like teams that wouldn't qualify as JV squads for high schools now.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, remember how the national championships got handed out back in the day,
like
too?
Ann Arbor Dentistry. Like, who is that? The dentist from around the block that you
and they're actually wearing dental gear as they play.
Like, I don't think that qualifies.
All right. On this day, I'll give you one that will be more near and dear to your heart in a minute. But on this day in 2016, Anquan Boldin, wide receiver Anquan Boldin, playing for the Detroit Lions, had a touchdown catch against Tennessee, making him and Terrell Owens the only players in NFL history to have at least 1,000 career receptions and a touchdown catch for 4 different teams.
Wow.
There's a record for you.
That's
right
something.
There. Anquan Boldin, really good player. Very underrated wide receiver is Anquan Boldin. Here's yours. On this day in 2013, you ever heard of Jordan Burroughs?
Yes.
American Jordan Burroughs earns another Wrestling World title. Burroughs was a gold medalist in 2012. He extended his undefeated streak to 65 matches.
Mm-hmm. He was doing the coverage for NBC for this past Olympics.
Yeah, he made it 100. He made it 65 straight, a 4-0 win over an Iranian opponent in the 163-pound category. So, Hall of Fame wrestler.
Yeah, he's a little better. He's a little better than I was.
Was a little?
Just a little bit.
Your streak was what, 63, 62, 63?
Oh, yeah. Well, whatever his is, just add a couple to that.
Well,
that was mine.
You got totally robbed by the official.
I did. No, the officiating was extremely
awful in
poor.
your match.
Which, so quickly on that, of course, a lot of people, come up with conspiracies. Oh, that officials are paid off and that kind of stuff. When I heard some people saying that coming away from the weekend, it reminded me I was on a really good middle school wrestling team. Like, we were the best team in the area. We beat everybody. We were very well coached, good technical wrestling, all that kind of stuff. And when I got to high school, because kids from different middle schools go to the same high school, so I started to be teammates with some of the teams some of the guys that I went up against in middle school. And there was this conspiracy that our team, a middle school wrestling team, was paying off officials to ensure that we won matches. I was like, no, we were just better than you.
But again.
But there were multiple people that believed it.
Well, that makes people sleep better at night.
It does.
Because it tells them there is an awful illegal reason why this team is better than everybody else. It's not just that they're better, because that's tougher to swallow.
Sure.
Sometimes in life, the fact that someone's just better than you is really difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
It's always better if there's some mysterious cloak and dagger reason why they're better than you to make you feel better about you or your team.
But, I've heard that for pro sports and college sports, but middle school wrestling?
All right. But you can admit it now because you're not in Georgia. How much money were you guys paying them off?
0. I promise.
But, Reddy, we want to be so good in middle school, we're paying off officials. Middle school.
It was that level of dominance.
Middle school.
I took it as a compliment.
You should have.
Yeah.
Should have. Yeah, we just kicked your tail. Deal with it. All right, 2 quick ones in football. Carolina Panthers quarterback Cam Newton on this day in 2011 set an NFL rookie record for throwing 432 yards against the Green Bay Packers. Cam Newton's rookie year, for a guy that there was question marks about him throwing the football, threw the football really well, threw for over 4,000 yards if I remember his rookie season.
Oh, yeah.
2005, Green Bay's Brett Favre joins Dan Marino and John Elway in the 50,000-yard club and also broke Elway's single stadium NFL touchdown record with 180. So Favre joined that club. Many others have joined that club since. Well, not many, but there are others. But at that point, it was Favre, Marino, and Elway in the 50,000-yard club.
Passing numbers are,
they're nuts.
They're not up right now because quarterback play is pretty poor in the NFL through the first couple of weeks. But generally, the game is more tilted towards throwing now.
It's funny. We had a guy hit us on Twitter, and I want to get it real quick about throwing the football. Where is it? Said he had a hot take. Oh, where's the hot take? Oh, saying that Eli was better than Peyton because of the way he played in his 2 Super Bowl championships, and Eli basically was better in the postseason those 2 runs than Peyton was in his. Mm-hmm. Interesting little hot take that we got hit on Twitter X. Forgot to get it when we were talking about Eli.
Yeah.
And how, well, the eye test doesn't scream Hall of Famer, but he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer because of his stats, passing yards.
All you do is put those 2 rings on the table.
And the 2 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah. Did you hear so Belichick was on the Manning cast on Monday, and they asked him, like, you got like a dartboard with Eli's face on it? He's like, I got 3 dartboards, 1 with Foles and 2 with Eli.
From that Eagles Super Bowl, he should have a dartboard for his defense.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a stop.
45 points they give up in that one?
Yeah.
That was one of the more fun Super Bowls I've ever watched.
That Super Bowl was one of the most fun Super Bowls in my lifetime.
Yeah, for no rooting interest, just wanted to see a good game. It was a good game.
Unfortunately, I had a rooting interest. I had a house full of Eagle fans.
As she was, beating you over the head every time the Patriots did something good.
All right, greatest day in the history of the world. There you go. Now we have our Firehouse Subtext the hour coming up, 803-404-6100 on the halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head on the game. halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, a little handoff with our buddy Jay Phillips, sponsored by Little Pigs Alpine Road. Alrighty, Firehouse subtext the hour. What do you got there, Data? 3-404-6100.
Skills writes in and says, "Did you see the Brian Kelly statement on the game after the game at his weekly presser? A lot of respect for South Carolina. Said we beat a really good football team from Soul Rock crowd. Not going to be apologetic about only winning by 3 points."
Well, I mean,
I think he also said nobody gave us a chance to win this game.
Nobody believed in us. We shocked the world.
The Kirbyisms are making their way down.
Well, I mean, if you're going to win a title, apparently that's what you got to do.
Well, look,
7-5, baby.
If you're Brian Kelly, I mean, you won. And if you're Brian Kelly, you walked off the field. Look, you won the game. That's all that matters, right?
I will say, you rarely trash opponents after the fact either, too.
No, you don't trash your opponent. But, two, if you're Brian Kelly, you walked off the field going, we escaped. Mm-hmm. Let's just be honest. Mm-hmm. You escaped. Mm-hmm. So you got to feel, you got to go like this. Phew! Yeah. That's one of those games where you probably sat there, on the ride home or in your coach's office or while you were like walking your dog or whatever and said, man, we're bleeping lucky we got the W there because we could have lost that thing in 10 different ways.
I think.
Or how about this one? Man, I'm glad we paid off the officials.
Yeah, I think.
I'm kidding. Kidding.
Well, remember, he still believes, and he also went public. Yeah, he believes the punt block should not be allowed, and he said that with his explanation given from the SEC, one of the things Shane said on a couple of them, we just agreed to disagree. Like so he's still convinced that. And maybe he's right, maybe he's not.
No, if you're Shane, don't you text him? Really, dude?
Yeah.
Really? Did you watch the film?
But
hey, really? You want to complain about that? I got you a list.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but to the point of saying nobody gave us a chance or not being apologetic, I have this hunch, and it's probably just me being subjective for where I'm currently standing and working, that they probably thought they were going to come in here and they I think they got a bigger fight than they anticipated.
Oh, especially early.
Yeah, I don't think they
popped in the head and you're down 17-0.
I think they thought they would do that, and that really should have been their plan. And that they came back from it is again, that's one of the things that I think has been lost in the conversation here in Columbia because there's been so much about officiating. That there were definitely times when LSU played really well. Nussmeier, he really was under, if not duress, a lot. He certainly showed a lot of poise on a lot of the plays that he made. And he made a couple of bad plays. Again, he got saved.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, you can look at it from that perspective.
I think one of the other millions of things that we haven't really talked about because we were so focused on the poor officiating in this game is the idea that LSU made adjustments on the offensive side of the ball as this game went along, clearly making adjustments. Mm-hmm. And whether South Carolina didn't adjust to the adjustments, couldn't adjust to the adjustments, or made adjustments themselves, and maybe whatever the case, things happened after 17-0, right?
Definitely.
You just finished blocking a punt. You score a touchdown. The place is about to, honest to God, explode.
Yeah, it's getting seismic readings.
I mean, they're doing it. Yeah, Holly Roll on the sideline. It's at 163,000 decibels.
Right.
And then LSU goes down the field and scores on you.
Yeah.
And people are talking about why'd you go to the 3 defensive linemen. LSU also started doing some quicker stuff, started running the ball more. Yeah. And things changed at 17-0. And this was the chess match we always talk about. Yeah. The chess match happened. And whether it was on one side, both sides, whatever. And we didn't even really get into that this week because we've been so focused on the officiating and some other things that we didn't even look at what happened after it was 17-0.
Well, and Elijah and I touched on that on Monday's show, especially that the adjustments LSU made were predicated on the score. The adjustments Carolina made, you could argue defensively was a little bit different. But then when you had to adjust offensively because of a different quarterback, you were still able to run the ball pretty well. But
I'll say this too, and we've talked about this here on the show. One of the things that gets lost in all this is, let's circle back to, you lost your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And how that affected the football game was huge.
Yes.
And we kind of made that 1B. And it's not even close to what 1A's been.
Right.
But I'll say this. Look, again, I don't know. But I think if Lenore and this is nothing against Robbie Ashford. God love you, man. But anytime your first string quarterback gets hurt, there's going to be a step down, unless it's Arch Manning. Right. But who's now going to win the Heisman?
Well, did you see this week, seriously, real quick, the FanDuel Heisman odds?
Yes, That's how funny.
If y'all didn't see it, Arch Manning's Heisman odds this week are 16-1. Ewers is 18-1.
Yeah, we were laughing about this.
They've already forgotten about Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers is done. They want to take Quinn Ewers out back and give him the pipe treatment to the foot so Arch Manning can be the starter. But it's just the idea that I really believe if Lenore Sellers plays the whole game, South Carolina wins. I can't back it up with any evidence.
I get it.
I just feel like the way the offense changed.
Well, you couldn't throw anymore.
Right, you just couldn't. You became and LSU.
And then a couple of times that you did again, like the play to Campbell. That man again, a penalty brings that one back.
I know. I know, and it just
like the two best completions that Ashford made both got called back.
And so there's so many things because we focus so much on the one thing. That there's so many other plots and twists and dips and turns
that's what happens
in that football game.
In a game where there's that many points, and
it was
a fun game. It's just,
if you didn't have a dog in that fight, that's another one that you really enjoyed watching.
Fun game.
All right, what are you doing?
Football.
All right, that's coming up.